So here we have the ILINX login screen. I'm going to log in as Sam. And Sam is a claims processor for a national insurance agency. And when Sam logs into ILINX Capture, he sees two tabs. One is his assigned work, which is workflow, and we'll get to that in just a moment. The other is Capture. And this is where Sam's going to collect and contribute information from multiple devices. He can scan it, he can drag and drop or consume it from his desktop. He can even take a picture with a connected camera and submit that. On the right-hand side, you'll see a series of just quick hit 1, 2, 3, 4 simple help topics. These can be configured by your system admin for users that are infrequent users of the software to help them be able to be productive without training. And at the bottom, you'll see a history list. This is all of the batches that Sam has submitted recently. And one of the unique features about ILINX Capture is this confirmation code. And using that confirmation code, Sam can come in at any time and find out the status of his batch no matter where it is in the system. So real quickly, the top level entity within ILINX Capture is called a batch. And batches are defined with a collection of metadata, security, workflow, as well as some client-side processing capabilities. And within a batch, you have documents. So I'm just going to grab a document off my desktop here. Grab this one. And so we've created a document. Now, ILINX Capture is unique in that documents can contain any number of pages. And these are often TIFFs if they're coming from a scanner or fax. But it can also contain Word documents and even video. And all of these are contained within a single document. And over here on the right hand, I see the documents displayed in the ILINX viewer as I bring them in. So let's just say I don't have a scanner attached to the system, but let's just say that Sam just scanned this document from his local desktop scanner. And he recognizes that the fellow here that's submitted this accident report sent him some email. And he saved those files on his desktop. So he's going to go out here and grab these files that he saved to his desktop and drag them right into the interface and drop them in. And so what you see here is a document that has a TIFF, it has a Word document, it has an image, and it even has a video. Now at this point, Sam may just hit the submit button, and this batch is submitted to the claims workflow. And in that workflow, it may process this first document. It may pull information off of it, like the policy number, and perform a lookup and pull information back from the system and apply to this document. But let's assume that Sam's responsibility at this point is to provide some metadata for this document he's about to submit. So here we've got the indexing panel comes up. And Sam can quickly look over here at the document that's been scanned and start typing in the policy number. And as he types, the ILINX Capture system is going to perform a lookup on his back-end system. And this could be a CRM system, it could be his claims system. And as he types, he can narrow down that information to identify this particular client. And when Sam selects this, you'll see that the information in the indexing panel is automatically filled in. Now, back when we were going through the PowerPoint, we talked about the ability to streamline the collection of information as well as ensuring the integrity of the information that you're collecting. And there's no better way to do this than pulling this information from your system of record. Now, Sam may come in here and specify the claim type because his back-end system isn't going to have a record of this transaction yet. And then he's all done, and he's ready to submit that, and he can kick that off into the workflow. Now, typically, Sam works in his workflow queue to do his daily processing of these inbound information. And so he'll click over here to his assigned work tab. In the top left, you see a list of batch workflows. Now, the top three are actually system workflows, and Sam's been given access to those, but that's not necessary. The first one is processing. These are things that are currently being worked on by the ILINX Capture workflow engine. Errors or exceptions in the workflow that require human interaction to correct before they can continue. And the in-use workflow are things that are currently locked by other users in my system to ensure that people aren't stepping on each other. So Sam works in the claims workflow, And under the batch list, we see a work queue list, and these are all of the work queues defined within the claims workflow. Sam's primary job is to review some of these inbound claims, and so Sam will select that agent review work queue and select the first batch in that work queue. Okay, and so here we see this information. Sam's job at this point is to compare the information that's been provided and make sure that that is correct based on this document. This one is, so he's going to go ahead and approve that one for additional processing. And Sam will just continue to work through this list of workflow tasks. But the next one, Sam recognizes that this is actually not the right information assigned to this document. So it's not a problem. Sam can come in here and has access to the same interface that he has when he contributes information to the system. So he can start typing in that policy number until he finds the correct record, and all of this information is automatically updated. Now, to recognize that Bob is a frequent flyer when it comes to accidents, and that's not good. So he may decide he wants to just highlight this date because Bob has had a couple of accidents in the last week, and he wants to make sure that downstream processors for this claim are aware that there may be something funky going on here. He can also add text annotations, lines, and even redact content if there's something sensitive that shouldn't be seen by downstream workers. All right, so let's back out of Sam's account, and I'm going to sign in as our system administrator. And what you'll notice is that the interface is exactly the same, except for the addition of a couple of tabs here. We'll start with the Report tab. This is just a simple reporting mechanism that allows an administrator to get a view of what's going on in the system. Now, this isn't very exciting data. This is just a demo system, so there's not a lot in here. But it'll give you an idea that you can come in and specify date ranges and get an idea of what's sitting in each one of your workflow queues, as well as what's been processed during that period. So it's just a good quick hit on what's going on with your capture system. And when we started the demo, I mentioned that batches or batch profiles are the top level entity within ILINX Capture. So this is a list of the batch profiles that are defined for this system. So let's take a look at the claims one, which is what we've been working on. So we've got a name, we've got a description, we've got a list of batch index fields, and I can change these, I can reorder them, move them, add new ones. But the two primary components of a batch are the documents within the batch, and so here are my two document types for claims, and the claims workflow. So let's start with these documents. I can add new document types so that I can capture different pieces of the claims workflow puzzle, or I can go in here and modify existing ones. So this is the claim document type, and this lists all of the metadata fields that have been defined specifically for these documents. And I can create metadata fields or index fields that are text, that are dates, numerics, integers, and even a table. As well, I can click on this and set scanner settings so that my users don't have to know or understand that when they're capturing a claim document that I want that in 150 DPI as a TIFF, and I don't want it as 600 color. I want it as black and white. And so that's time savings, and so that my system also gets the appropriate information. Okay, so back to the profile. Let's talk about workflow for just a second. And I'm not going to cover this in depth. We're going to have a webinar coming up where we'll really get into the functionality of the capture workflow. And this workflow has been fine-tuned to facilitate document capture processing. So we've got a couple of workflow activities here on the left that are specific to processing batches. So we've got barcode operations, batch creation, deletion, even deleting pages within a batch. And those are all the workflow activities listed here on the left. In the middle is our canvas where we actually drag and drop and lay out our workflow and our logic. And over here on the right, are the properties of each one of the workflow activities. So to create a workflow, you select an activity, you drag it onto the canvas, and you drag and connect that to build your workflow. Now as I click through each one of these activities, on the right you'll see that these properties are changing. And they change depending on what the activity type is and what needs to be configured. So right now I have a human activity, which is a work queue selected, and I can click the permissions, and it comes a dialog that allows me to set privileges for each group that has access to this workflow, what they can and can't do, and how the system interacts with them, and how the users interact with the system. Let's click back over to the admin page. Now I mentioned in the presentation that ILINX Capture supports built-in users as well as Active Directory users. Here we've just got a bunch of built-in and we haven't included any Active Directory, but you could, and you can mix and match, and you can assign Active Directory users to your built-in user groups as well, and then assign those privileges out to the different capture functionality. And I do this by selecting permissions. So at the top, I see a list of all of the batch profiles in my system. We've been talking about claims, so I'll select that one. And this list shows me all of the user groups that have access to the claims batch profile. And from here, I can select a user group and set privileges that define how those users interact with that batch profile, whether or not they can create these, change the index values, see scanner dialog settings, and even drill down into the individual document types within that batch class to specify whether the user groups have access to the field data, whether it's hidden, read-only, or required, so that they can't move information along in the workflow until that information has been provided. All right, well that was a very quick overview